All right. Hello, Facebook. Hello. How are you doing today? We are live. We are live. We are live. Today we have a special guest. Well, I guess it's a special guest. We are here to present Gammon's book, and by the author, who is our guest, Mr. Horace. Today he'll be giving an insider firsthand experience of why he wrote this book, why it was important for us to put our story on paper, to use images, and how you might can participate in this historical event. So my name is Mashaka McKenzie. I am the communications director at Gammon Theological Seminary. I am also a 2019 graduate of the ITC Gammon.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I'm also in this book. So I'm also very invested in the Gammon ITC experience. I'm also very invested into people knowing about Gammon ITC. I think it's very important to share our story, and I tell that to everybody I work with, not just business or individuals should be telling their story. I believe all of us should tell our story. And one of the things about being a student at Gammon ITC is story linking. Ed Wimberly's teach us that it's important to share your story. It is important to do story linking. That's from the Bible. That's from our heritage. That's from our history. That's from our ancestors. It's important to tell your stories. And just like what they had taught us at the ITC at Gammon, we are telling our story. It is well overdue. Where we know that there's other people who have told pieces of our story. I know that you can find our story on our website, on other people's website, on the library website, but it is important for us to tell our story. And that is what Mr. Horace have done for us. So, Mr. Horace, tell us a little bit about this book that you have took your time and effort to help cultivate.
Sure, Mashaka, and thanks for having me on your show. This started out as a special request from our former dean, Dean Walden, who is now in California, Dean Ken Walden. And so he and I were having a conversation one day at the office, and we were deciding on some things. And he said, well, Horace, what I want you to do is write a book on the history of Gammon Theological Seminary. And he had been familiar with, he knew that I had already written a couple of books before, one called One Day in January. And so when Dean Walden asked me to write this book, I said, well, it's going to be kind of a long process. And this was last year, Mashaka, around January, February, that's when we had this discussion. That was before the pandemic, just before the pandemic. And so when the dean and I were talking about what the book was to contain, it was to be, number one, a pictorial, which means it would have pictures in it about Gammon. That involved a whole lot of research on my part. And of course, Dean Walden had given me some research materials as well. But I decided that I would use the Atlanta University Woodruff Library. When the pandemic hit us, we couldn't use the library. I couldn't go to the library, and I'd make phone calls. We couldn't get anybody in the library, and so I had to do most of the research for this book by the internet, just online. But that's how it kind of like started. And in the book, it's so amazing that when I was doing the research on this book on Gammon and the history of Gammon, we always say Gammon was founded in 1883, which is correct. But in doing the research on Gammon, you find that a whole lot of things happened with Gammon before 1883. And one of the things was that when Clark University was founded in 1869, they had this 500 acres of land in southeast Atlanta where Clark was. But as a part of Clark University's religion and philosophy department, they had a school of theology. It was the Clark University School of Theology. What was going on there? And this is after the war, about 4 years after the Civil War. But a man by the name of Elijah H. Gammon, who was born in Maine, and was a preacher at 17. He was he became ill at 35 and left Maine for some reason and went to Illinois. Now, to me, the temperature in Illinois is just as bad as the temperature in Maine, but I think it was some winter cold disease that he had. But when he was in Illinois, he made money by selling harvesting equipment. You know, the Industrial Revolution was coming. In place after the war, and everybody was expanding to the west and to the north and to the northwest. And so farming was going to be a big deal. So Mr. Gammon decided that he did not want to. He became a millionaire. He was very well blessed financially, but he decided that he didn't want to keep all of his money to himself. He wanted to find out some place or somewhere or something where he could put some of his money in that would make be a worthy cause. So he met this gentleman from Atlanta, Bishop Clark, at in Chicago, and they talked about this school in Atlanta called Clark University, historically black. I mean, a black colored school at that time. And so Mr. Gammon thought about it. He says, "Well, that might be," because he was a religious person, "that might be a place for me to put some of my money in." So he came to Atlanta, saw what was going on, and he started. His dream was to invest in something positive that would help all people, so he invested $20,000 in Gammon Theological Seminary. But it was not Gammon Theological Seminary. Remember, I said it was the theological school at Clark University, a part of the religious department at Clark. And so, but when he invested this money, he always had this dream way in the back of his mind that he wanted everything to be independent from Clark, although it started at Clark University. He saw it in his mind and he dreamed of Gammon being an independent university. So that was in 1869, 1870, 72, in that area. And so when 1883 came about, Gammon was given a license to become an independent university from Clark University. All the while, Clark and Gammon were on these 500 acres or so of land in southeast Atlanta. Everybody remained at the same tract of land. 500 acres of land. That's a lot of land. And it covered everything from University Avenue to Jonesboro Road to Capitol Avenue. And at that time, where the school is located now, the white people in Atlanta didn't care because they were, that's a long ways out from the city of Atlanta. So they'll be all right out there. And a lot of people thought in the black community that since we were so far out, since Clark University was so far out, they wouldn't be going all the way out there. It's too far out. And now it's a stone's throw from downtown Atlanta. So that started the expansion of Clark and Atlanta, Clark University and Gammon setting up a relationship. But they always remained on that same tract of land up until the late 1930s. As a part of the expansion of the Gammon, and it's all in the book. Now you have to get the book because once you get the book, you will see that it's some interesting things taking place date-wise in the book, and that's what some of my research showed me. One of the things that took place was that when Gammon and Clark were on the old campus over there, in 1920, Leet Hall was built. Now, people say, well, what is Leet Hall? Leet Hall was the administration building for Clark University. It was built in 1922 by a gentleman by the name of Alexander Hamilton. He was a black architect here in Atlanta, African American. So he built it. It started in 1922. The building was completed. It started in 1920. The building was completed in 1922. It's the only remaining building on the campus, the old campus of Clark University right now. And it's a beautiful building. You have to see it. It's a four-tiered structure with four steeples, Gothic style, a little Romanesque mixed in there, and then the inside is beautiful. On one end of the building, when it was built originally in the 1920s, there was a gymnasium, and there was an auditorium that could hold 500 people, called Gammon Hall. And the amazing thing about when I was writing this book on Gammon Seminary and the history of it is that when I visited physically the campus where they were located with Clark University, you could see street signs that might say Pictorial Hall. Well, see, Pictorial Hall was named for President Pictorial, who was the first president of Gammon Theological Seminary after it had become Gammon Theological Seminary. And so in 1888, the school graduated, I think its first official class under President Pictorial. What people don't know is that when Pictorial finished his stint at Gammon Theological Seminary, he went on to become the president of Howard University in Washington, D.C. And then, you know, the other presidents, the first Black president's name was Bowen, Reverend Bowen. He was the first Black president, and the third president of Gammon. Bowen United Methodist Church in Atlanta, named for Reverend Bowen. Bowen United Methodist Church was built, I believe, in 1950. And it just so happens that during my research, I found out that Reverend Horace C. Fisher was either the second, I think he was the second pastor of Bowen, and he stayed there for many years. He was my uncle, Uncle Horace Fisher at Gammon. And these are some of the things that you discover as you move about doing research on this, on the book right here. But it has pictures in it of the old campus. It's got photographs in it of the Leet Hall that I just talked with you all about. You know, the dormitories. We have, and this is why you have to get the book, because it has an ongoing chronological history of Gammon Theological Seminary. And once you put it before your face, you won't drop it until you finish. It's an easy read book. It's just 100 and some pages, so it's not that many pages, and it's an easy read book. Eventually, we might go. This book is selling right now. It's very popular now on the internet with our sales at the Gammon bookstore. But eventually, we might do this in a hardback version. Right now, it's only available in the softback version. It's available online at Gammon's website. Mashaka will talk to you about that a little later on. But I just got excited when I was just doing the research. That's all I'm saying, because you can discover so many other things. When you're trying to dig for one thing, you discover there are so many other things all around that one thing that come into play when you're doing your research. Mashaka, anything you want to ask me?
So that's exciting. That's exciting to know that that you didn't just find one thing, you found multiple things, right? And that's always exciting when you can find multiple things when you're doing research. And we know that you are a photographer and you have been doing photography for a while. And you took some pictures of Martin Luther King. You've done some civil rights. You help with civil rights as far as capturing images.
Yeah.
Now, how does your pictures impact in that way? How for you? Tell me, how would you take a picture and then how does a picture tell a story? Help the people to understand that they are looking at pictures of Gammon's history. Now, how does it help people understand about Gammon, its ancestors, civil rights, the pastors that have received their education at Gammon, as Gammon Seminary and Clark, or Gammon Seminary and ITC? How will these pictures help people understand who we are?
Right. I got your question. A lot of people are used to familiar with the adage that a picture speaks more than 1,000 words. And so in the book, I found out you know, that just kept jumping out at me all the time. Look at this photograph. And, you know, when you look at a photograph, you can look around. Most photographers can look around the photograph. There's some things going on in a photograph that you regular people might not be able to see, but you have to look around the photograph. For an example, when I was doing the research, on page 58 in the book, you can't see it very well, but on 58, this is a photograph, two photographs of the old Atlanta airport, So when I was doing this research, there's an airplane right here at the very top photograph that's looking like it's getting ready to take off. Somebody in my research said that was Charles Lindbergh's plane, the Spirit of St. Louis. Now, he was on tour around America after he had gotten back from overseas in the Spirit of St. Louis. And so this is actually, and I believe it to be true because it looks just like the Spirit of St. Louis. It's Charles Lindbergh's aircraft. And it's on just a whole lot of different photographs in here. When we did the research from Dr. Cornelius Henderson on to the present, I have been fortunate enough to photograph most of the presidents, all of the presidents at Gammon, and their pictures are on the campus there. But yeah, Dr. Walter Mckelvey, when Dr. Mckelvey was president, he renovated the administration building at Gammon, and he also refurbished what was the Willis J. King building on the campus. That building is no longer on Gammon's campus now. But most of the presidents they did remarkable things while they were in office. Dr. Henderson's name is on a building over at Clark Atlanta University right now. He's a little country boy from Covington, Georgia, came to Clark, and when he graduated, he moved up through the ranks. He went to seminary at Gammon and became a bishop of the Florida Conference. Is that right, Bishop? Yeah, somewhere in the Florida Conference. And you know, he served as president at Gammon for 2 years before he was called to be the bishop in the Florida Conference. And unfortunately, we lost him several years ago to cancer. But he was a great. There was only one Bishop, Cornelius Henderson. Let me put it like that. But let's get back to the book.
I want to engage the audience for a moment. If you are watching, I want you to let me know if you are live. Say #live. If you are watching this and you are watching on repeat, say #repeat. And also because he is, Mr. Horace is talking about our deans and our president. Let me know if you are a graduate of Gammon. What was your dean's name? What was your president dean's name? We want to show love to all our deans. I have had the privilege to work up under my deans, and I worked up under Dean Mosley. My interim president was Kim Bro. My interim president was I can't think of his name. Oh, excuse me. Crawford, Dr. Crawford, and Dr. Walden, and then now our current president, Dean Lewis. So I've had the privilege to work with some powerful people, and I have learned. And so if you are thinking about coming to ITC Gammon, if you're thinking about, is this the right place for you, man, I'm telling you, we have some dynamic people that have gone through, and we have some dynamic people that are here that will help you and mold you to the person God has called you to be. So our history isn't just in the past, our history is current, and we are currently making history. So come on and join us. Come on and join us. So Mr. Horace, tell us a little bit more about this beautiful book. And like you said, like as a photographer, you don't just you're not just taking a picture of the image or the person or the thing that is the focus, but you're also taking a picture of the things that are around us. So paying attention to things around us is very, very important as well. What are some other key things in this book that people might need to be keen on as they read it and look for it?
And you touched on one or two of them, Mashak, and I was so glad that you did, because you have to know that if you or your grandmother or one of your grandparents or your great-great-grandparents or your great-grandparents or an uncle or an aunt or a relative attended Gammon and graduated from Gammon, then your name, that person's name is in this book. From 1888 up until 2020, every graduate, unless we miss a few because of computer glitch or something like that, we might miss somebody. But from 1888 to 2020, if you are or were or you know of a graduate of Gammon, their name is in this book, so it will make a remarkable gift for them, because people love to see their names in print anywhere. People love to hear their name, period. But if you could show somebody, your name is in this Gammon Theological Seminary Pictorial, often as a Christmas gift, as a birthday gift, or as a graduate gift, or whatever. But it needs to be in every home because it's a magnificent piece of history that history books don't get old; they just get better.
Right. Right. And I want to say something there too, not just in every home, but we want this to be in every library, every seminary. We want it to be everywhere because it comes from us. We are telling our own story. We're not allowing anybody else to tell our story. We have taken our story and we are telling our story. And so it's important that you buy from us by going to Gammon. gammon-itc.org/store. You go there and you can buy it from us. It's important for you to buy it from us. Mr. Horace, in the last 5 minutes of our broadcast, tell people a little bit about you. I think it's important for people to know who you are. I know I gave a little snippet about you being a photographer and you taking pictures for during the civil rights and you said that you have a book and you have done this, and so that's why Dean Walden put you on this project. So, but give us a little bit more into who you are as a photographer / artist / author. Tell us a little bit more about you.
All right. Clark, Atlanta University graduate. I'm from a small town called Palmetto, Georgia. Wherever I go in the world, around the country, if I give people some background information on me, I always mention my hometown. I'm from Palmetto, Georgia. I'm a country boy, and came to Clark, finished in '71. And when I finished Clark, I was a hippie. I didn't want to work for anybody in Mashawaka. I just wanted to play my music because I was a music major at Clark. But the Clark people in admissions saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. So they hired me, and I was in admissions. I grew up went through the ranks of admissions, starting off as an admissions counselor, ended up being the assistant director of admissions. But I was in admissions for 15 years at Clark. While I was there, we instituted several programs. The boss and I, we started the Virgin Islands recruitment program. We went every year to the Virgin Islands. We recruited in the Bahamas and all over the country in these big college fairs. Well, all the while, I told you I was a music major. So all the while I was in school working in admissions, I was playing with a group called the Chaparrals. We travel all over the country. Imagine leaving Clark College on the Thursday, flying to New York on the Saturday. After you get off work from Clark, flying to New York on a Saturday, and then that Friday night, you're at Radio City Music Hall playing opening for Marvin Gaye, the Average White Band. But those are some things that happened to me in my music career. So Clark, 15 years in admissions, Chaparrals, 15 years on the road with the Chaparrals, and so we played with the band. Actually, I wanted to do my senior recital with my band, but the music department at Clark College said, "There's no way you can do that, Mr. Henry." I said, "But this is what I'm going to be doing." And so 2 years after that, three or 4 years after that, I was opening for people like Sly and the Family Stone, The Temptations, Larry Graham and Graham Central Station with the group The Chaparrals. And so, it was just an amazing experience for me in a small HBCU because everybody knew you. And just like at the campus at Gammon right now, it's a small school, so people know each other. We had a very attractive student-teacher ratio at Clark. They do the same thing at Gammon right now. It's a very small student-teacher ratio. And so you get a lot of individual people care for me. Let me just say it like this, because I was a little wild in college, but my instructors would reel me, different instructors, not just one, would just reel me in and bring me back to that which was real and the reality of it all. And so I was very thankful for that.
Oh yeah, foundation is very important. So we're glad that they ringed you in. As old people would say, we glad that you had a village that walked alongside you to make sure you became the person that we are here talking with today. And Gammon very much so appreciates you for taking the time using your craft called photography to tell our story, And I was glad that you was also to be able to see that your family had some history in Gammon as well. So that's always good. Like I said in the beginning of our broadcast, I'm thankful for this book because it also tells a piece of my story. I'm able to show my daughter, Marissa, like mommy is in this book. Mommy helped worked at this school. Mommy went to this school. And so this book is also very, very important to me because I am in it and I'm a part of the history of Gammon. And then I am very happy or appreciative to all the people who went before me. And so I'm thankful for this book. So as we conclude, you guys, you can go to our website right now. You can go to you can go to Gammon's website right now and buy the book. Yes, you might Google the book and you might see it in other places. Please buy it from us. Buy it from the source. Please buy it from the source.
Yeah, and I will sign it for you.
And you will get a signed copy from Mr. Horace. Matter of fact, if you buy it now in the next 24 hours, you might get a pen or other swag. But if you have to go ahead and buy the book now. So we would appreciate it. Our dean will appreciate it. The members at Gammon ITC will appreciate that if you go ahead and buy the book from us. It is definitely a fundraiser for us. But we also want to show you our history. We want to tell you our history. It is for us, and it's us to share with you, and it's us to help our future students in the future of Gammon. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Horace. And Mr. Horace is going to be signing those books. You'll see pictures on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And matter of fact, I'm going to pause for a minute. Please follow us. If you're not following us, please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is at Gammon 1883. Very important. Gammon 1883. That's the year we were founded, right? So that year is very important. Don't forget it. Thank you. And we see y'all on the next clip.
Bye, everybody.